Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
We start with Mangal Hare Krishna Krishna Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschalya Deshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaurabhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you once again for coming for this weekly program, NOI discussion. So those who don't know, that's my better half, Radha Bhakti Devidasi. She can explain me today. So what do we remember from the last discussion? Does anybody want to share? Yes.
We were talking about Siddhartha.
Right.
You mentioned political and sociological issues and stuff, those are now under the category of Siddhartha.
Right.
And if people don't speak from scripture, they talk all kinds of unethical reasons.
Right.
It's like cooking up a toad.
Absolutely. And what else we discussed in Prajalpa?
We should try to minimize Prajalpa and maximize talking about Krishna.
In our day-to-day life, what are the examples of Prajalpa? Movies. Discussing about movies? Yeah. Yes. Anything else? Anybody? And have you memorized this verse? We are reading, we are discussing on this verse for the past 2 weeks now. Have you memorized this? This is an important verse for us to memorize. So let's just repeat it, okay, one by one. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha lolyam cha shadbir bhakti vinashyati. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha lolyam cha shadbir bhakti vinashyati. What's up? So when I did this Bhakti Shastri 10 years ago, so that time the speaker whom we had. Okay, so the speaker made us recite this verse 10 times minimum during the class. And we memorized it in the class itself before we go home. So that's why, it's important for us to memorize this verse because this is an important verse for memorization also in Bhakti Shastri. So yes, so I think we'll start with this para, which is Jana Sangas. Prabhu, do you want to start?
You want to connect this screen again?
Oh, sorry.
How to connect to Wi-Fi?
It was connected. It was connected.
There's no activity for this.
Oh, let me try again. Okay. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Jana Sangha refers to associating with persons not interested in Krishna consciousness. One should strictly avoid such association. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has therefore advised us to live only in the association of Krishna conscious devotees. Bhakta Sane Vasa. One should always engage in the service of the Lord in the association of the Lord's devotees. Association with those engaged in a similar line of business is very conducive to advancement in that business. Consequently, materialistic persons form various associations and clubs to enhance their endeavors. For example, in the business world, we find such institutions as the stock exchange and Chamber of Commerce. Similarly, we have established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people an opportunity to associate with those offered by our ISKCON movement is increasing day by day. Many people from different parts of the world are joining this society to awaken their dormant Krishna consciousness.
We can pause it, Prabhu. So, what are your thoughts on this this paragraph? Any thoughts? Yes, Prabhu.
To live in the association of devotees.
Right. And how do we do that?
By going temple, by doing bhakti.
Right. What about Grahastha? A Grahastha has a busy work schedule, is true.
He can listen to classes from the YouTube or like any other
Yes.
social media thing.
Yes, perfect. So here if you see, Prabhupada is actually talking about, for business we see that people have, like businessmen have created different chambers of commerce, different associations to expand their business. And associate with them, talk to them about, what you can offer to them as your services. Like, it was always self-centered, those kind of association. Secondly, they were coming for food because 5-star hotels were offering good food to them. And they did not pay for that food, so they were coming for food as well. So you see how Janasangha actually spoils our consciousness, that we are only self-centered. We come only to enjoy and like get something out of that association. It's not something we are giving something; we are taking something from them, right? That's what our expectation is. Yes, Prabhu.
For Sunday feast, many devotees come because of the prasadam, right, to enjoy.
That's okay, Prabhu. That is also better because they are having Krishna Prasad. So Prabhupada has said that the power of prasadam is such that you don't need to preach also to that person. If you are just feeding prasadam someone daily, the prasadam will work his magic. And that's why you see Prabhupada invented this, I think...
Love feast.
Yeah, love feast. And then I think they used to call this rasgulla. Like, yeah.
Simply wonderful.
Simply wonderfuls, right. So prasadam has that power to transform us. Because see, if you preach some philosophy to anybody, like I'm sure that you go out for Sankirtan on a regular basis, you see that people are not interested most of the time to listen to you. Forget taking any book. But when you give them any prasad, they will take it willingly because they know that I'm not getting any harm by eating this if it's in a packed container, and it's something I'll benefit from it because I'm hungry, so it will satisfy my stomach and my tongue both, right? But they don't understand the power of prasadam. So that's why I'm saying prasadam is so powerful that even if people are only coming to have prasadam, that is also fine with us. Because I remember that one devotee was sharing this story about him, that he was doing this journey of self-discovery course, 6 days course in US. And then he was new in that area, in that locality, because he had recently moved to that place and he didn't have any devotee association there. So what he did was he said, I will organize a seminar, a JOSD seminar, just to, if you don't have any Sangha or community there, you build a community there, right? That's what devotees do. So he also had that same intention in mind. And then he said, okay, I'll invite my office people, my office colleagues there to my home. I'll give them some prasadam. I'll talk to them about, like who am I, why are we here, all those things, like JOSD course. And at the end of the seminar, feedback were taken of the participants, like, what do you felt about this, program, and then everything, the hospitality, and everybody said the same thing, that, we don't remember what he said exactly to us because we found, it was very boring, whatever he was mentioning, but we like the prasadam. And he was feeding us regularly, and that's why we used to come here. And they were transformed eventually, and now they are initiated disciples. So that's the power of prasadam. So even if somebody is coming only for prasadam, that's fine. We are more than happy to have them.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Right. Anyone else? Have any comments or reflections to share on the prasadam? I started my journey with prasadam. Like, I was attracted to prasadam. Like every Sunday feast I used to come, every festival I used to come, and in Chowpatty, Mumbai, there were like huge feasts in festivals. Like every festival, we used to wait for festivals to come because we know that now we are going to have feast. Because at that time I was a bachelor, so I was like, okay, at home things are boring, food is boring, so let's go to the temple and have prasadam there. So for me, prasadam was the first attraction, not the philosophy. Eventually, philosophy became the first priority, but it started with prasadam. True. So yeah, so that's what association Janasangha does to us. It actually changes our consciousness and degrades us to such a level that we are only thinking about ourselves. I'll share something with you. I mean,
Second
Screen
one.
share.
sorry. Okay. Is it connected now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, this one. So this is an example of Janasangha where people are discussing, the problems that we are facing in this world. And if you see, Janasangha doesn't happen in, in the real world. It also happens in real world as well, right? We have social world, which is WhatsApp, Facebook. We have so many groups there. And you won't believe that people who are admins of such WhatsApp groups, they feel themselves to be very powerful people. They feel that they control the groups. They have the authority. And this actually reminds me of this. Right? So somebody who is an admin of a WhatsApp group will actually think himself to be more powerful than anybody, even if that person doesn't have any qualification to be at that powerful and at that stage, but still he will consider himself very powerful. That's what WhatsApp group does to us. And you have seen, like, you must have had family groups, WhatsApp groups, and where there are so many prajalpas happening, especially people who are, at the fag end of their life. Those, they are the people who shares the forwards more than anybody. Because they have free time, they don't do anything much in their life. So they just keep forwarding whatever they get to see. And that's why you see, we consume a lot of information through this groups that we are part of. We don't realize this information is actually affecting our consciousness, right? But what we need to do is, we need to actually take association of devotees like this. You will see Krishna is the center of their life. All the Brajvasis, the Gopas, the Gopis, the cows, the cowherd boys, the cowherd girls, they're all surrounding Krishna. Krishna is the center of their life. That's how devotees should be, right? Krishna is the center, and we are serving Krishna, we are worshipping Krishna, we are like whatever service is, the 9 processes of devotional service, whatever you are doing, Krishna is the center of our life. And if you see the Govardhan Parvat here, it's actually representing the ISKCON. So we are under that shelter, ISKCON, which is actually providing us that association by keeping Krishna as a center. And because we have this shelter, we are not affected by external calamities or external things that are happening in our life. You see that, there was a rainfall, there was a flood in Vrindavan that time. But people are not affected. You won't believe their houses were destroyed because of that flood. But they were not affected by it. Why? Because Krishna was the center of their life. And they were around Krishna throughout 7 days, 7 nights this pastime took place. And that's why you'll see Krishna didn't get offended by Indra because of this pastime. Even though externally it may appear, but internally he was very happy, he was very satisfied. That at first 7 days, 7 nights continuously, he was in association of his pure devotees. And that's what Krishna wants. To be surrounded by devotees only. Right? And that's what we also aspire for. And if you see the 7 purposes of ISKCON, that's that only. That, there are 5 S which talks about the 7 purposes of ISKCON. One of the S is Siksha, education. Right? Our emphasis is on education. Second S is sadhana, like morning japa, attending Mangal Aarti, reading Bhagavatam, or taking. That's part of our daily sadhana, right? Then third is Sangha, association of devotees, either by having festivals or Sunday feast or any other association like a Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vriksha. Fourth is Seva, serving each other, serving Krishna. Right? There are some devotees who are serving the kitchen, some who are serving in the DD department, some are serving in Sankirtan. So everybody has a different service, but everybody is engaged in some service. It's not like being a devotee means you are free from everything, from every responsibility. No, there has to be some engagement for devotees, and that's why ISKCON was formed, to engage them, to give them seva. Now the 5th S, can anybody guess? So we spoke Siksha, Sadhana, Sangha, Seva. What is the 5th S? Prasad is peace.
You say one more time.
I'm saying there are 5 S of ISKCON, like why ISKCON was founded, like 7 purposes if you see of ISKCON, it talks about this 5 S only. Siksha, Sadhana, Sangha, Seva. What is the 5th one? Okay.
Self-realization.
Okay, but okay.
Is it Shastra?
Shastra comes under Siksha. Yeah. But something which you go on a regular basis. Sankirtan. So, this 4, Siksha, Sadhana, Sangha and Seva, nourishes us. They cultivate us. They help us grow in our spiritual life. But there is a next step that we need to take, which is Sankirtan. Share this with others. Right? Only nourishing us won't help, right? We need to make others also devotees like us. We need to show an example by our achar and do prachar. Right? So that's the 5th as Sankirtan. Any questions, thoughts so far? Yes, Prabhu.
In that picture that you put before the Mr. Bean picture,
Yes.
we're sitting in the same arrangement too. So what those people are doing, but that association
Yes.
is really nice. This association is quite beautiful. So
Yes, absolutely. And that's what, that's why we Prabhupada created ISKCON, right? Because we can get association of each other through such kind of sessions. See, I'm also coming here just to get your association. And that's why I come here, because I like discussing such topics. So for me, it's also learning, because when I share, I learn from you as well. So it's a mutual learning for both of us. Sorry, it's again not disconnected, so I'm trying to connect it.
Like the vibration is showing the round one.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, as you were mentioning in that Mr. Bean example,
Mm-hmm.
so for devotees like me who are really new to it,
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy for us, because I have seen few of my friends, like it's so easy for us to get that mood that, oh yeah, like I'm the admin or let's say something like that. So when it comes to service, I'm so scared that, oh no, I don't want that type of mood, that, okay, sometimes, so how do we make sure that we don't have that mood even in the future?
Like what kind of mood?
Like, like you are doing it or something, it's because we have to see us as instruments of
Right.
Prabhupada. But what can we do to make sure that we don't see like we are doing it, oh I'm doing this or I'm doing this. How can we make sure that we are just being an instrument?
Right, so in that case, I will share my personal experience with you, Prabhu. So when I used to do service in the kitchen, I'll take an example because that's where I started most of my services. We used to do sabji cutting, chopping of vegetables. So there, I was not alone. There were so many devotees who were coming together and we were doing this service. So, at that time I was new. I was like, okay, I'm doing this. So, I'm doing a big thing. I'm helping cook this prasad. Like, my contribution is in the prasadam seva. Right? So, I was having that kind of feeling. But then I was seeing the devotees, other devotees over there with me doing the service. So, they were like, they're having a different mood. They were so grateful for that service. And they were like, we are so grateful that we are even getting this opportunity to serve in this area. Serving Krishna in such a very insignificant way, which is very difficult to get. They were so grateful. So this gratefulness comes little later, Prabhu. It doesn't come naturally to us because naturally we are conditioned to be ungrateful. We are conditioned to be selfish in our life. We are conditioned to take credit for whatever we have done in our life. But just by association of devotees, we develop that gratefulness. And it's one of the biggest boon of ISKCON, of this society, that we are able to have that feeling because of the association of devotees. Generally, it doesn't come to us, right? Unless you have people around you who are having the similar feeling of being grateful for that service. I know there are devotees who actually do shoe stall seva in some of the bigger temples, right? They actually do shoe stall seva on Sunday programs or in these festivals. And they are so happy and they actually fight for that seva. Okay, this week I want to do it. Nothing doing, I'm going to come here. You can't take my place like this. People are fighting for shoe stall seva. And that is the lowest seva which any materialistic will consider, right? Like touching other people's footwear. But devotees are fighting for that seva. Why? Because for them it's an opportunity to do service. Even a little opportunity is magnificent for them. They take it as something big. Okay, I've got something big in my life. That's how it is. So yeah, Prabhu, that's my reflection on your.
I think, bro, my question was kind of like, so basically, being grateful of the services, this is how we can view it. My question was more like, let's say I've seen a lot of devotees who are serving here.
Mhm.
A few of the examples are Radha Gopinath Prabhu always serving
Right.
in the kitchen, as you mentioned. And Punisham, bro, now they do a lot when it comes to Sankirtan. They do a lot of stuff in the back end,
Right.
which we don't know.
Right.
And they don't even show up, like they don't even need a credit for that thing
Right.
or something like that. So how about that thing? Okay.
So there are devotees who actually does service in the background, and they prefer to do that because that's their nature. They are very introvert. They prefer to be in the background. They don't want, if you even if you give them service of doing, giving classes or coming for deity worship, they will politely, humbly refuse it because they feel that they don't deserve that kind of service. Something like, where we are in the front end. They prefer to remain in the background. That's what their understanding is. Some devotees, they want to serve from the front. Yes, Prabhu, sorry.
So Prabhu, this was the more was like most of the acharyas, if you see the Rupa Goswami,
Right.
when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Vallabhacharya, he said, "Don't touch me. I am the most sinful person. I'm most contaminated person here. Please don't touch me. Don't see me." So Prabhu, the acharya like Rupa Goswami, he is also saying the same thing. So how can we?
So, see, that's the mood of Acharyas, Prabhu. That they are always in that mood that I am the insignificant person in this entire creation. I don't deserve anything, any Krishna's mercy at all. Still, Krishna is giving me mercy. That is Krishna's great. That's how great Krishna is. But I am not that great. I am the lowest, and that's why you will see even the exalted devotees within ISKCON. They will always feel themselves insignificant. They will feel that I'm nothing. Yes.
Just to add to Prabhu's point, something that helps me, Prabhu, to get in that consciousness is, like, I am not the lower consciousnesses. If I don't do the service is not going to stop. There are 10 other people waiting to do the service, right? The service is going to continue. Krishna is going to make sure the service gets done. So even if I don't do it, there is no stopping the services, right? So that also kind of helps in that consciousness that I'm not the doer, right?
Right. I mean, we are insignificant souls actually, as compared to the many souls that are there in this world. I mean, if you see us like from the sky, from a very far aerial view of the humans, we are like we don't look like ants also. We are not even visible. So proud of their contribution in the company that I was working in the past, that they thought, okay, I'm irreplaceable, nobody can remove me, nobody can fire me from the company, but eventually they were let go and somebody came and took their place. It's not a big thing. Everybody is replaceable in this world, everybody. So when we think that we are important, we are in the biggest illusion. And that's why you'll see acharyas, they always teach by their personal examples. They always show that I know my position. I know Krishna is big, Krishna is great, because I mean, if you read 5th canto of Bhagavatam, you'll understand how big Krishna is. You'll understand how big his creation is, and that is only material creation, 5th canto. 5th canto doesn't mention anything about spiritual world. That's a different subject altogether. And material creation is only 1/3 of the entire creation of Krishna. And imagine Krishna reciprocating with us personally by sitting in our heart as Paramatma. So that's how big Krishna is. So, did I? Okay. Any other thoughts? We can continue, Prabhu. You want to read?
Sure, yeah. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anuvritti commentary that too much endeavor to acquire knowledge on the part of mental speculators or dry philosophers falls within the category of pratyahara, collecting more than needed. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the endeavor of philosophical speculators to write volumes of books on dry philosophy devoid of Krishna consciousness is entirely futile. The work of write volumes of books on economic development also falls within the category of atyahara. Similarly, those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness and who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under the control of atyahara.
We can stop there. So, do you know why do we do atyahar? What's the basic motive of doing atyahar? Because,
Save it for kids.
okay,
We do it to feel secure, to create a sense of security within us.
right, like during COVID times, we saw people accumulating so many goods from the supermarkets, and then it was like there was no stock left for others, right? We saw that. Yes.
To have more than others.
Right. So we envy others, right? We want to have more than others. We want to feel more powerful than others. That's the controlling mentality, right? That we have, right? Amazing, yes, bro.
Because they are not satisfied.
Yes, we are not content. You know, all these principles actually come from the part that we don't follow our dharma properly, and that's why we do atyahar. If you see, dharma is based on the 4 principles. One is shaucha, which is cleanliness. One is satya, which is truth. One is tapasya, which is austerity. And the last is daya, which is compassion. So these 4 pillars is actually balancing the dharma in our life. And if you see, people who don't follow any of these pillars are actually doing atyahar. So from dharma, like dharma was followed mostly prominently by the Brahmana class in earlier times. So it was their duty to educate the kings who were running the administration, who were running the government, to educate them on how to run the government. And then kings used to impose taxes on the Vaishyas, which were the manufacturer of artha, like money. They were the money earner, right? So what happens is dharma should control artha. But right now what's happening is artha is controlling dharma. So money is influencing our dharma decisions. Because of money, we are taking the choices that we are taking right now. For money, what I mean is, it doesn't mean only money, it means resources, it means security with the family, right? All those things are influencing our dharma decisions. So even if we think that, I'm doing this for my family, so I'm right, but that's not according to dharma. One should have dharma as a foundation, and then artha should follow that. Is everybody getting it?
Yes.
Yeah. So because if we don't follow dharma, we'll have anartha in our life. Anarthas can cause misery in our life, and that is not sustainable also. And we have seen that from the past. Like, for example, if somebody eats and overeats, right? What happens? You fall sick. Sorry? You get, yes, obesity. You visit doctor, and immediately what happens? You are very sleepy. You are very lazy. As soon as you have very, hearty prasad, you feel like sleeping, right? That's what happens with all of us. And that's what happens with me as well sometimes. So yeah. So when we follow the path of a dharma, or we do anartha. And anartha can give rise to misery, and it is unsustainable. It cannot go on for long. For example, if you see, when the mobile devices were invented, it was invented with some purpose in mind, to facilitate communication between people who are sitting very far away from each other. It was created with a noble thought, noble gesture. But then what eventually happened? Mobile became an addiction for people. It spoiled people's consciousness. It destroyed the younger people of the society because of the addictions that they were having. And people, especially the content, right? So mobile was created to solve any material problem, which was communication. But what it became, it created a further bigger problem. And that's why you'll see Prabhupada always emphasize that material problems cannot be addressed by material solutions. Material problems, spiritual solutions. If you read Perfect Question, Perfect Answers, Prabhupada has specifically mentioned that material problems, spiritual solutions. And that's why Prabhupada always, like, he was very heavy on, United Nations, World Health Organizations, ILO, International Labour Organization, because of these reasons only. Because they were actually addressing, they were not doing bad things. They were trying to address a material problem, a genuine problem, but they were addressing it through material solutions, which was not sustainable. So that's why Prabhupada always he was very heavy on those organizations. He was like, why are you doing this? Instead, follow a Krishna conscious society, have a Krishna conscious country wherein everybody is, the center of the life of everybody is Krishna. So that they don't do atyahar, they don't do prayas, they don't do prajalpa, they don't do laulyam also. Because when you are focused on Krishna, you are only focused on serving others and serving Krishna. So that's how it is. When we follow dharma, it leads to apavarga, which is moksha. So dharma, artha, kama and moksha. These are the four phases of life, right? We start with dharma, and then we are, right now we are at like when we were kids, we were teenagers, we were at a dharma stage, we were studying scriptures. Like in the past days, in old age, that used to happen. People who focus on dharma, they're following rituals, yajna, tapas, right? All those things. As soon as you become a householder, follow on earning money, like focus on earning money, maintaining a family, but then dharma shouldn't leave your side. You should always earn artha by following dharmic principles. And then comes kama. You also enjoy the material life that you have, but in moderation. And if you remember, last class we discussed about this. Krishna spoke this. Yukta hara viharasya, yukta chetasya, karmasya, yukta swapna vabodhasya, yoga bhavati dukkha. So Krishna says that if you do eating, sleeping, recreation and work in moderation, you will be able to reduce your material miseries. Because Krishna himself says that this world is dukhalaya ashashvatam. So problems will come. But one way you can reduce your problems is following this principle of yukta hara. Having a regulated life of eating, sleeping, work and recreation. And then once we do artha and then kama, and finally we come to the stage of moksha. Because since we have led a life of dharma throughout, even in artha stage, even in kama stage, we eventually come to the stage of moksha, wherein we are only focused 100%, like 100% of our time is focused on only doing Krishna consciousness and nothing else. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Prabhu, so like you said that dharma should follow artha, right?
Right. Artha should be based on dharma as a foundation.
Should be based on dharma. So when Vishishika Prabhu was here,
Mm-hmm.
he actually asked him a question on
Mm-hmm.
how should we know which career to follow and how
Which career to follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
He advised that when it comes to choosing a career, you have to sit down and plan and not go by your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to plan according to how much time you're going to give, how much money you're going to
Right.
earn. Based off of that, you need to choose a niche subject.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean then that our artha is influencing which dharma we should choose, because dharma is also our occupational duty, right?
Right. Here if you see, Vaisheshika Prabhu is stressing on a very important point, which Prabhupada also mentioned in his classes, that one shouldn't overwork in our life. Because whatever money you're destined to get, you will get it, no matter what. Because that's Krishna's arrangement. Like if you see other species of life, like animals, elephants, they eat tons and tons of food on a daily basis, the African elephants. Whereas an ant eats very small morsel of food every day. That's his capacity. But Krishna is feeding all of them. Are they working? Except for humans, no species is worried about career planning. Right? It's only humans that we think about, what should be my career, what should I do? So Prabhupada has emphasized that fact as well, that whatever you do in life, don't overwork. Because whatever you're going to get, It's fixed. It's destined in this life. And that's what Vaishnav Prabhu also, that's what he meant actually. That plan your career so that you spend your time intelligently in your work and are able to give most of your time in Krishna consciousness. Right? That's what he meant actually. Because if you follow your heart, sometimes it may happen that you may do overwork and you will not be satisfied also after some point, because you will realize, okay, I've done so much, I've done so good, societal good for the people, like I did what I wanted to do, but then is it satisfying to you? It doesn't satisfy your heart completely, because ultimately what satisfies us is pleasing Krishna, is serving Krishna, right? So that's what he meant actually. And if you see, there is this term which is used in Japan very frequently, karoshi. So karoshi is a term which means that people dying of overwork. That is karoshi. And Japan has most cases of karoshi, because people die of overwork. They work 16 to 18 hours a day, every day. Right? So that's how it is. And in 2016, that's the 2016 statistics, that around 750,000 people died of karoshi. That's a huge number of, again, 9 years ago's statistics. Now the numbers may be too high.
How to spell that?
Karoshi. It's a Japanese term. Japanese invented it because they are suffering because of it. Yeah. So did I?
I'll think more on it.
Yeah. Anyone else? So yes, bro.
I was going to say something. So in my school library, like sometimes I would just be astonished at the amount of books that people are able to produce. Like some books, like we have them in our library, haven't been touched since like the early 2000s, right? But the book still exists, so somebody can read it.
Right.
And Krishna Prabhupada is saying here, like, produce volumes of books on dry philosophy.
Right.
All those books are so dry, they're so like
Right.
hard to read, so dense. And I'd always wonder, like, why did someone go through so much effort to write this? Like, who's gonna read it?
Because that's the human nature. We want to, because we are not focused on Krishna, because we are not, we don't know the real value of life. We do things which are unnecessary, useless. Now, as devotees, we know what is useful to us. We know that we are not this body; we are a soul, and we know the real value of life. So we manage our time according to that. But those who are not devotees, they don't know. And that's why we should feel compassionate for those people who are not devotees. And that's why when you go out for Sankirtan also, that should be our mood. That these people are actually suffering. Even if they are dressed up in a very nice garments, they are looking very happy, they have a very nice makeup, but they are suffering from within. And you will realize this when you actually listen to the stories of people who actually come and talk to you during the Sankirtan outings. People have said, I remember there was one lady who actually started crying just by listening to us, because she realized how much pain she is in. And then I was showing her Bhagavad Gita, and I was showing her, talking to her about philosophy, talking about the quotes by Mahatma Gandhi and others on the back of the book, and she was like started crying. And she told me that I was actually looking for something like this today, because I was going through a problem in my life and I was looking for answers. I was not able to get it. Today I met you and I got my answer that I was looking for. She took the Gita, she was very happy. So we don't know. Like externally people may show that they are very happy, they are enjoying their life, but internally they are very unhappy. And that's why we should be compassionate for those souls. And that's why Sankirtan is important. Right? And anything else for you? So here if you see in this paragraph, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also mentions about prayas. He talks about atyahar and then he talks about prayas as well, like how atyahar happens because of prayas. We do atyahar because of prayas, right? We put our efforts to get something more than what we are destined to get. Now prayas can be categorized into three things. One is karma prayas, one is jnana prayas, one is yoga prayas. Now, can anybody give me an example of karma prayas?
I don't know the full story, but I think Abhishek Bachchan and Aishwarya Rai, like their marriage wasn't so nice, but then he did a bunch of pujas to fix to make everything work out.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's a perfect example. Yes. Yes. Anybody else? Karma prayas. Like doing your, doing your duty just for, like doing any tapasya or any yajna just for the sake of material benefits, not for pleasing Krishna. Yes.
Studying.
But is it really karma prayas? You're studying to get a decent job wherein you can start earning money so that at least financially you're not miserable, right? That's why you study. Because you can actually focus on your bhakti. Because if you don't study, what will happen is you'll be miserable throughout your life. You'll not be able to follow your bhakti also properly because materially you're miserable. Yes, Prabhu.
No.
Okay. Yes.
Hiranyakashipu.
Yes. He did lots of tapasya, right? So many years of tapasya. Just to get what? Immortality. Boon of immortality. What happened? He was killed. So, I'm reminded of one more example, which is of Trishanku. And has anybody heard of him? Trishanku. So, Trishanku is a personality which is mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana, like Balkand, Valmiki Ramayana. So, Trishanku was predecessor of Lord Ram. So, he was from the Suryavanshi dynasty. And Trishanku was a person who wanted to go to heaven with the material body. He said, I want to go to heaven with this body only that I have. And that was his determination. He went to Vasishtha Muni because Vasishtha Muni was the family priest. And Vasishtha Muni rejected him. No, you can't go with this body. You need to die. You need to have some sukriti to go to Swarga. So he said, okay, no problem. If you can't give me that, let me go to anybody else. Then he went to Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra and Vasishtha were like competitors to each other during that time. If you see, there's a backstory also for that. So he went to Vishwamitra. Now Vishwamitra was like, okay, I'll help you do that. And he did that also. He actually sent him to heaven also. Now Indra was pissed. Indra was like, why are you here? You are so sinful. You are cursed by your guru to be a Chandala. Like he was also cursed by Vasishtha Muni to be a Chandala. So you are cursed. How can a Chandala live in this Swarga? So Indra threw him down. He said, go back. and he was like, somebody who was mixed between Indra and Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was again pushing him towards the Swarga and Indra was pushing him back to the Bhuloka. So there was continuous fight between them to bring Trishanku. And then eventually Trishanku realized, this is waste. This is not helping me. So that's what karma prayas is. There is another example of karma prayas which I think of is of Chitraketu Maharaj. Now Chitraketu Maharaj was so much in despair because of not having a son. He approached Angira Muni and he said, please help me. And Angira Muni was a great devotee. And they were like, he was a good friend with Narad Muni. But still, he didn't acquire about absolute truth from Angira. He asked for material boon. And Angira Muni gave him that. But eventually what happened? We know the story. His son died and then Narad Muni had to come and give him some lessons. So that's karma prayas. Now there is another verse on karma prayas I wanted to show you. Yes. Repeat after me, please. Oh, sorry. That's material problem, material solutions. Okay. Tatprayaso na kartavyo yata ayurvyaya param na tatha vindate shemam mukunda charanambhujam. Does anyone want to read the translation?
You guys are done.
Endeavors merely for sense gratification or material happiness and economic development are not to be performed, for they result only in the loss of time and energy, with no actual profit. If one's endeavors are directed toward Krishna consciousness, one can surely attain a spiritual platform of self-realization. There is no such benefit from engaging oneself in economic development.
So this verse was spoken by Prahlad Maharaj to his batchmates. If you see that his batchmates were all demonic kids, like kids of demonic families, from demonic families. So he was telling them this. So this comes in the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, right? So that's karma prayas. Now, what was the second prayas I mentioned? Jnana prayas. Any example from Jnana prayas?
Knowledge.
All my professors.
Right. Okay. What else? Yes. Mahamatis, yes. Yes.
Scientific
Yes.
endeavors.
Yes. Yes. Not focus on understanding Krishna.
Ravana.
Ravana, how? Give me an example of Ravana.
So he read like all the Sastras, but like it's
Right. He was a Brahmana. He read all the Shastras just for material benefits, right? Yes. So yeah. So example of Gyan Prakash is Brahmaji. Now this comes in the pastime of Brahma Vimon Leela. So we'll read another verse from that. I'll read it first. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva जीवन्ति सन्मुखारितां भवदीय वार्तां स्थाने स्थिरा श्रुतिकतां तनुवान् मनोभिर् ये प्रयासो जितजीतुप्य असितैस्त्रिलोक्यां Please, Prabhu.
Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge and let their body, words, and mind offer all respect to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within 3 worlds.
Yes.
Perfect.
That's okay, bro. That's okay. So if you see, Brahmaji is praying to Krishna in this pastime, wherein he's telling him that, I tried my, I'm actually, if you remember this pastime, Brahmaji stole the cowherd boys and the calves, and he kept it in Brahmaloka. And then for 1 year, Krishna was like, okay, if you want to take away them, that's okay. I'll create my own. So he expanded into Vishnu forms, and then he, had his own gala time during that 1 year pastime. And then the Gopas and the Gopis in Vrindavan, they're very happy having, because they were having association of Krishna on a daily basis. So when Brahma saw this after 1 year period, because for Brahma it was a moment time, but in Vrindavan it was 1 year already spent. So Brahma was like, okay, what's happening here? Even though I've taken them, but they're still here. That's when Brahma spoke this prayer to Krishna. That, I tried to understand you from my mental speculation, but still it's difficult to understand you. It's only by pure bhakti that one can understand Krishna. Right? And what is the third prayer that I mentioned?
Also, Brahma himself prayed to Lord Vishnu when he came with the cow or the Mother Earth, and he also forgot that Krishna gave birth. So it's
Right. If you see Brahmaji and then Indraji, they have multiple times they have actually offended Krishna. Not offended, but they have done such acts of offense to Krishna. But Krishna has not punished them for that and not reduced their position, because Krishna understands that they are also an instrument in my service. They are also an instrument in my teaching a lesson to the people in general. That how a devotee like Brahma or Indra can also be under the influence of material energy. And that's why you will see in the earlier part of this verse, we spoke about Bhiranga Shakti, which is the material energy, which is so powerful, which is controlling us by these 3 modes of material nature, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And it is difficult to come out of it. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that, Mataji. Anyone else has any reflection on this pastime? Or any other pastime from Jnana Prayas? Okay, no problem. So what is the third one that I mentioned? Third Prayas, yes.
Yoga Siddhi.
Yes, Yoga Siddhi. Any example from Yoga Prayas?
Can you explain it again?
Yoga Prayas. So Yoga Prayas is the efforts, endeavors towards material perfection, endeavors towards becoming great or becoming expert in something, which is not actually Krishna consciousness, but something else.
To acquire siddhis, basically.
To acquire siddhis, yeah. And doesn't have to be like siddhis which are magical. Any siddhi. Yes, bro.
Like example of Jarasan, because he tried like 17 times to conquer Mathura by defeating Krishna,
Right.
but every time he got failed, but still he was trying.
Yes, right. Anyone else? Any other example?
Hiranyakashipu.
Yes. Anyone else?
Like athletes?
Yeah. Even as devotees, we do yoga prayas in some way or the other. We try, there are some devotees whom you must have seen that they focused on so much of learning musical instruments. They want to take it to a perfectional level. Like, I want to be a singer and I want to be the best kirtaniya in ISKCON. I see other kirtaniyas performing, I want to be the best. So the focus is not Krishna at that time. Focus becomes our own expertise, our developing our own, glory. Because we have seen that kirtaniyas get glorified in ISKCON, right? And that's why we compare our kirtan with their kirtan, and we want, okay, I want to be like him. So that's yoga prayers. That's an example of yoga prayers actually. Somebody trying to losing our focus on Krishna, from Krishna, and focusing on something else, which is not actually Krishna consciousness. Right? I know, there's a pastime which I think of my Guru Maharaj. He learnt only few melodies, few Hare Krishna melodies in ISKCON. Now when somebody asks him, Maharaj, you are in ISKCON for so many years now, like almost 40-50 years you are in ISKCON. Why only you play few melodies? Only this few, very few, like 1 or 2 melodies he plays every time. And then he tells that, I was taught these melodies by one very exalted Vaishnava when I was young. And I want to be grateful to him every time I play these melodies. Because if I learn something else, I'll be ungrateful to him. I'll not remember him. And that is why I just want to limit myself, because for him playing musical instrument is not important. If he knows the basic, if he knows how to, have a sur and a tal, he's okay, he's happy. He's not aiming to become a kirtaniya in ISKCON, right? So that's what our endeavor also should be like that we shouldn't focus on doing yoga prayers within ISKCON also, right? One example of yoga prayers is Vishwamitra Muni. His prayers was to become a Brahma Rishi because he was envious of Vasishtha Muni. And that's why his efforts were all towards becoming Brahma Rishi in that sense. Any questions so far? Sorry. Any questions so far? Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, you mentioned that yoga prayas.
Yes.
In ISKCON also we should not aim for becoming the best of anything. So what should be our consciousness like? Many of us, we are learning instruments right now.
No, see, I'm not saying you shouldn't be best in what you're doing in your seva. Be best, but don't lose your focus. Learning musical instrument, the focus should only to please Krishna. And by learning few melodies also you can please Krishna. I know there are devotees who just play few melodies and they play it in seclusion. It's not like they're playing for others, like everybody should listen to me. Okay, I'm playing, everybody should be listening to me. No, they're doing it in seclusion. Because that's their personal time with Krishna. And as devotees, we should have a personal time with Krishna. Have some time in a day that we are spending only with Krishna. Either through our chanting, kirtan or reading or anything. Because the more we spend personal time with Krishna, the more we are inculcating that habit of, of being Krishna consciousness, of being Krishna conscious. Otherwise, we will be only self-conscious, even within the society. Yes, Prabhu? Prabhu, you had some questions? Okay. Anybody else? Should we stop here? It's 11.
So we discussed this para too, next para which was?
It's actually part of this. What also.
Which para?
Karmi's labor to convert more and more.
Right. But we can cover this in next class.
Okay.
Yeah.